Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For our radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also tuning in through iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, we're glad you all could be with us as well. This is part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD, and today we're talking about an interesting connection between your gut and your brain. No one wants to slip into their later years with a failing memory or an inability to think clearly and make decisions. Here with tips and advice on how to use nutritious food to help support your brain health and cognitive function. We're excited to welcome Peter M. Castleman to our broadcast today. He's the author of the book called Eat to Think. We're going to talk to him not only about the research he's been able to share in this book, but also about what you guys can be able to start doing today to be able to make a difference for yourselves as well. Peter, thank you again for the time. Really do appreciate you stopping by.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be on your show, Cyrus.
Well, Peter, I think for myself, when I was reading the book, and I've been having a lot of conversations with our friends about heart health, but what I thought was so interesting that you all did in this book was show the connection between our gut health and our brain. Is that something that you've been finding people hadn't thought about before, that what we're actually putting in our body, how it does impact our mind?
Absolutely. The brain is sort of the last frontier of the body. It's less well known, it's less research, it's more complicated. And you nailed it. The gut-brain axis is so critical. What we feed our bodies goes to our brain. So our brain is only 2 pounds, maybe less than 2% of our body weight, yet it consumes 25% of all the calories we eat and 40% of all the nutrients. It's a resource pig. And the reason is because it runs our body. It runs everything in our body. And it's the equivalent of having about 1,000 computers there. And if we don't treat it right, it's going to stop performing well. And unfortunately, as we get older, we're going to probably be exposed to cognition decline. And that does not have to happen.
And I love that point, Peter, because you actually outline in the book, Eat to Think, some of the things that we hear so much about, Alzheimer's disease, dementia. And I love the fact that as you are describing these things and you're talking about individuals that are dealing with them, the connection there again, of course, with what goes into the body. Another thing that was really interesting to me is when you talked about the gut-brain connection through neurotransmitters. I want to read a little bit of this, Peter, and have us talk about it, because I think our audience will really find this fascinating. You write in the book, for those who have the paperback edition on page 103, your gut has trillions of microbes that affect brain functions like immunity, appetite, the strength of the blood-brain barrier, and the production of chemicals that impact cognition, mood, stress, depression, inflammation, and toxins. Research shows that a high-fiber diet in general can reduce inflammation of the microbia, one of the causes of cognitive decline as we age. Your gut and brain are connected through neurotransmitters, too. Most of the feel-good neurotransmitter, serotonin, is produced in your gut. I think a lot of people will be surprised by that, Peter. What was it like for you to not only to discover this research, but also now to be able to let people know exactly how important it is to watch how they're impacting their body through their diet?
Yeah, one of the issues we have in our healthcare system is we tend to separate all the organs, the pieces, the healthcare issues, et cetera. Heart health or gut health or GI issues, et cetera. It's all interrelated, and all the action for our happiness and our health starts in the brain. And the brain is the source of not only the positive functioning of all our organs, but it's also where our moods are and where our basically all the things that we love in life occur in the brain. And we feed the brain through what we consume. So if we're not consuming the right type of foods, which is basically nutrient-dense foods, and it's not being transmitted to the brain, we're gonna have something that goes wrong. it all goes back to cell regeneration. And neuroregeneration was discovered. We used to think the brain grew till it was 20 and then it declined. About 20 years ago, a big study Harvard-led was neuroregeneration occurs. And so our brain is designed to live the entire life with us, not to decay. And the key piece of it is feeding it what it needs to have, and that is nutrients full of dense, nutrient-dense foods, the essential nutrients, the omega-3s, and items like that.
And you also go on to talk about, Peter, and I think this is great for our audience as we're beginning a new year, to think about the connection with our overall health as well. You talk about the things that can impact us, like short-term effects of poor sleeping. You talk about the importance of staying physically active. And one thing that I thought was so interesting about that, you said exercise is good for the body, and of course, what's good for the body is also good for the brain. So for individuals embarking on a journey to better brain health, what resources do you recommend to support and guide them along the way?
Well, we in the book, my co-author and I, Eric Christensen, we took us, unfortunately, maybe we're slow, but a decade to put this book together, trying to research the best out there. We came up with what we call the 6 pillars of brilliance, and there's 6 things that if we incorporate into our life, good things will happen to our brain and also the rest of our body. And those 6 are fairly simple. It's nutrition, and that's nutrient-dense foods, a lot of essential nutrients and omega-3. It's physical exercise, and that's just walking to the mailbox and back. You don't have to throw your body around a gym. It's mental exercise. Get away from the mind-mushing Netflix once in a while. Play cards, get discussions, read a book, things like that. It's sleep. Sleep is really powerful. You learn in the books really neat cells we have called the microglia cells, which is our housekeeper of our brain that works while we're asleep. If you don't sleep enough, it can't work, and it inflames your brain. Lack of stress. You don't want to redline your car. You don't want to redline your brain. And love. And that's a simple love of your family, your friends. Even intimacy is important for the brain. So those 6 things, that if we can bring those things into our life, and it's the lifestyle when people say lifestyle, but those are very tangible things that we can bring into it, and those are the things that we try to promote. We've also actually developed one food that is a first step. It's called the omega-3 bar, which is very powerful, and it's a nice step because the brain loves omega-3s, where you generally don't get enough of it. And this little bar that I'm holding in my hand that's teeny is like eating a fillet of salmon with 40 essential nutrients and polyphenols and proteins, vitamins, and minerals, and it's things like that. If you reach for those types of things versus the candy bars, they can make a big difference in your life.
So glad you mentioned that, Peter. In Chapter 9 of the book, Stay Sharp with Brain Care Products, you mentioned that as well. I want to say I have the privilege outside of doing this program now for the past 21 years. I'm also, for the past decade, I've been one of Amazon's top 100 reviewers, and I was going to go to Amazon to write my book. I want our audience to know, even though I was reading from the paperback edition of the book, you guys have the Kindle edition of the book for free. So tell us about what you hope people, when they pick up the book, Eat to Think, Peter, take away from it, and why you're making it so readily available for them to get it.
Well, I'm a senior. I've had 2 parents that have had dementia, and anyone that's had that in their life, it's just heartbreaking. And we do not have any standard of care in our medical field for cognition decline. You're basically on your own, and it's really, really heartbreaking. And I believe that we all can control our brain health. We can control our keeping cognition for the rest of our life. And what Eric and I want to do is make a difference. And information out there is really good, but confusing. This book is really simple. I'm a simple guy, and I can't understand too many things, so it's written for me. And we're hoping that this is a path for other people to understand how to not have cognition decline in it, and so we're making this book very available. We're sending free products out, and all the anyone who buys the book, 100% of the donation is going to go to a 501c3. We're not making any money from this. We're trying to make a difference in our lives. I'm at an age that you want to leave the world a little better, and we have some knowledge about cognition, the brain-gut axis, and what you can do, and we're trying to elevate and pass that on to everyone.
Well, we definitely appreciate it, and I thank you so much for the time today, Peter. Really do appreciate you stopping by the show. Again, everyone, Peter M. Castleman has been our guest. Eat to Think is the book. As I mentioned, the Kindle edition is available for free on Amazon. You guys can also go to eattothink.com. You can be able to get to it from there or get a free PDF from there as well. And, Peter, it goes without saying, you're welcome back here anytime. I'd love to speak with you again.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me, and thanks for addressing such an important issue.
Yeah, the pleasure's definitely all mine. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let us go make today amazing. Take care.